So I felt inspired to pull a page from Reverend Joe's book, and I designed some visual aids, some slides to go along with today's message. Not all of my references will have an accompanying slide. There are times when the desire is for you to hear rather than to see the words. But there is a sheet on the table in the back. Some of you may have received it on your way in. That is a full outline of a mantra that we're going to learn through today's message. And for those who are watching online, that sheet is available in the video description on Facebook and on YouTube, as well as on the homepage at unitynaples.org. So, with that said, let's begin, or rather, let's continue with the energy that we've created in this beautiful service this morning. A Buddhist monk sat in a busy courtyard trying to meditate, but the noise of the children playing disturbed his peace. Frustrated, he approached his master. "Master, why can't I be more present?" The monk asked. The master smiled and asked, "Why do you think you aren't present?" The monk replied, "The noise of the children is distracting and it's causing my mind to wander." The master pointed to a child who was playing and said, "See that child? Is she living in the present moment?" "Yes," the monk admitted. "She's happy and free without worries." "So why do you think that you aren't living in the present moment? If a child can do it, why can't you?" The child doesn't know the difference between being present and listening to her thoughts. She knows that both are happening at this very moment. If she wanders away in her imagination, she doesn't say to herself that she shouldn't. The child simply knows that nothing can happen outside of this moment. You've forgotten that to be present simply means to pay attention. And that's what the child does best. The monk bowed and said, "Thank you, Master." And the master smiled and said, "Don't thank me. It was you who came to me." I believe that presence is the ultimate goal underlying all of our chasing in the human experience. No matter what your pursuits are or what you do along the way to get to where you think you're supposed to be, you ultimately want to get to that future state so that you can be present. It's a little ironic, right? We know that presence is not a goal, but when we say we want something, we picture ourselves with that desire fulfilled and just being present and enjoying it. How many times have you said, "God, if you just grant me this one thing, I'll never ask for anything ever again"? Now, oftentimes that's the ego talking. The thinking of society is outcome thinking. If this, then that. If I get this car, this house, this promotion, this relationship, this much money, then I will be happy. Then I can be present with my thing and live in my joy. And sometimes that joy that we achieve through an outcome is long-lasting. And sometimes it's just a few seconds before our mind moves on to the next goal. When we decide that our happiness is achieved through an outcome, then once we reach it, our minds simply replace that desire with a new outcome because that's the muscle that we've been exercising. Okay, well, God, now that I have this, there is just this one little thing. And so the cycle continues, wanting and re-wanting. The story of the monk in the courtyard reminds us that we are not meant to be rid of the thoughts in our mind. Has anyone else been stuck there before, like Amy talked about, thinking we should be moving towards the goal of having only good thoughts or no thoughts at all, coming out of meditation and thinking, well, that was pointless. My mind was wandering the whole time. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Has anyone been there before, coming out of meditation? No. The thoughts in our mind aren't going anywhere. They are the result of 20, 30, 40, however many years of conditioning in this life experience, and they are a real part of our human journey. As Reverend Eileen said last week, our thoughts or our blockages are not who we are. We are the observers of the thought. We are meant to be aware of them, not to judge them. We are meant to love them. Unity co-founder Myrtle Fillmore said this. I love this quote. "God is love that must be converted into loving. Loving things of the present, those about you, the thoughts and words and works that are adding to the wealth and peace and beauty of the world now." Today, as we continue our journey through the 12 powers and focusing this month on the power of life, I want to look at what it means to live in the now moment, to utilize the spiritual tool of presence. A very simple mantra came to me about a year ago, and I've used it off and on ever since. And it will act as our roadmap on our journey this morning. It is simply this: I am here, I am now, I am enough. Throughout this talk, we're going to speak these parts of the mantra. I'm going to invite you before each one to take a deep breath. So take a deep breath now with me and say this: I am here, I am now, I am enough. When this song that we just shared came into my world, I was instantly in tears. It was exactly what I needed in that moment. It's called Centering Prayer by the Porter's Gate. It begins with such a powerful statement of intent. I want to be where my feet are. That's it. That's presence. Not just to live and breathe in the moment, but to truly want to be there regardless of the circumstance. To expect the unexpected, to allow ourselves to be continuously surprised by God's plan for us, and to just be along for the joyful ride, to want to be where our feet are. And when those circumstances are hard, and there will be hard circumstances, whether you're fully present for them or not, when it gets hard, it's this line from the song that we can remember. The ground below me is how you hold me. The you here is love. It's God. It's life. When things get hard, we can look down at where we are and say, well, I'm here, so God must be holding me. And then we allow ourselves to be receptive to how we are being held and what in this circumstance is for me. In the second verse, it says, I run to capture the next horizon, but what you give me is here. God, love, the universe is watching us running around like rats in a maze looking for something, and it's just holding out its hands and saying, here. If the desire for presence is underneath it all to get to a space where we can just sit and enjoy what is, if that's truly what we want, then the universe is responding. Here. As in, here you go. Also as in, here it is here. Breathe that in and say this with me. I am here. When we declare I am here, we acknowledge that our current circumstance is the right and perfect place for us. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Ellie's first day of school is in 3 days. She'll be starting preschool at Seacrest this Wednesday. And as I've been preparing for this massive change to my life and my daily rhythm, I was reminded of a powerful experience I had a few months ago. I was driving to Unity one Sunday morning, and I had this visceral, involuntary flash forward to a future state. I had this vision of walking into my home after having just dropped Ellie off for her first day of school. And it's just me. And I felt this new emptiness. I've been a stay-at-home dad for 3.5 years. I do my work play during naps and at night. Otherwise, Ellie's there. We're there together playing with toys, watching movies, going to the pool, gymnastics, grocery shopping. She quite literally is my life. And for whatever reason, I don't know what triggered this vision, the universe wanted to show me what it would feel like when her physical presence was no longer where it once was. And because of my journey here in Unity, I found myself, rather than being sad, I was in a state of gratitude. Thank you, God, for this vision. Thank you for this reminder to be present in the next few months I have in this specific expression of my beautiful relationship with my daughter. Speaking of watching movies together, I can't resist sharing this quote from Kung Fu Panda. Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That is why it is called the present. Think on this the next time you're faced with a challenging circumstance, or maybe you're struggling with the passage of time like parents often do. Society teaches us that when things don't go the way we think they should be sad or mad or disappointed. But our unity principles teach us to be grateful for the time given, the lessons learned, the insights shown, the opportunity to grow and evolve, and as Myrtle Fillmore said, turn love into loving. My mother-in-law is someone who finds joy in routine. She likes to plan ahead, to be ready for anything, and she does not like last-minute changes or being late. When I pick her up to go somewhere, she's always waiting at the end of the driveway, ready to jump in the car and get to our destination on time or preferably early. She recently shared with me a difficult experience she had with her desire for routine. Her son had just called her and told her he was going on vacation and asked if mom could watch his dog for a week. The catch was that he was leaving in 2 days. When you're someone who finds joy and habit in routine, to introduce another living being into that routine within 48 hours, that's when worry and anxiety starts to have its way with you. So mom is in this moment needing so much information. How much food do I give her? How often does she need to go out? Is she friendly with other dogs? Can I trust her in my home not to chew on my furniture? Should I just go to your house twice a day? So she gets off the phone with Robert, and she turned to a book she had been reading that she recently found at Goodwill. It's called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Maybe you've heard of it. When she told me she'd bought this book, I told her, I said, Mom, you can wake up in the morning, open that book to a random page, and you'll get exactly what you need for that day. So in this moment, that's exactly what she did. She opened the book to a random page, and this is what she read. Are you worried? Yes, Eckhart, tell me more. Do you have many what-if thoughts? You are identified with your mind, which is projecting itself into an imaginary future situation and creating fear. There is no way that you can cope with such a situation because it doesn't exist. It's a mental phantom. You can stop this health and life-corroding insanity simply by acknowledging the present moment. Become aware of your breathing. Feel the air flowing in and out of your body. All that you ever have to deal with, cope with, is this moment. Ask yourself what problem you have right now, not next year, tomorrow, or 5 minutes from now. What is wrong with this moment? You can always cope with the now, but you can never cope with the future, nor do you have to. The answer, the strength, the right action or the resource will be there when you need it, not before, not after. We turn again to the song where it says, I chase my worries, I flee my sorrows, but what you give me is now. Throughout our life experiences, we find ourselves in these moments where we're searching for how and where we'll have the answers to this problem and that problem. And again, the universe is just holding out its hands and saying, now. The answer is always now. Breathe that in as we say together, I am now. When we declare I am now, we acknowledge that the solution to any problem exists only in this very moment. Oops. Amy and I went back and forth in our early relationship on whether or not we wanted to have kids. For a period of several years, we sat very firmly in the no camp. It just was something we couldn't see ourselves doing. And then one day, it was like a switch had been flipped, and Amy said, I 100% want to have a child. And she asked me how I felt about that. And I told her, I said, I've always known that when we're 80 years old, looking back on our lives and everything that we did without children, we won't regret not having kids. But I also know that if we're 80 years old, looking back on our lives and everything we did with children, we won't regret having kids. Whatever you decide is my decision too. And she only wishes I felt that way about getting a new area rug in the living room. I love that rug. My point is, our greatest joy exists where we are, not where we think we should be. I used this same logic on Ellie recently. We'd made plans to go to the pool one day, and she woke up excited and ready to go, but the pool doesn't open until 10 a.m., so we needed to find some fun things to do at home for a couple hours, and that's exactly what she did. Our day is generally up to her, and on this day, she got so caught up in playing at home that the hours flew by, and she seemed to have forgotten about going to the pool. Amy introduced a policy early on, and it's called Don't Trade Fun for Fun. Meaning, if we had planned to do one thing with Ellie, but she's enjoying doing something else, why interrupt her joy? Don't trade fun for fun. So before we know it, it's a little before noon, and knowing that it's now too late to go to the pool and get home in time for her nap, I asked if she wanted to go shopping for a new watch. Amy and I had just gotten new watches. I'm still not in the habit of putting it on, so I don't have it with me. But Ellie wanted one too, so she was thrilled to go get a new watch. We're out for about an hour. She's got her new Disney watch on. We're driving home. We turn the corner onto our street. We're a block away from the house, and she yells, "Daddy, we forgot to go to the pool." And I said, "I know, but we still had a great day so far, and now it's time for a nap. Maybe we'll do the pool tomorrow." And of course, she burst into tears. So I said, "Ellie, think of all the fun things we did today. We made breakfast together. We colored with crayons and markers. We played with toy cars and potato heads. We spent time in the shade on your tree swing. We had popsicles and went shopping for a new watch. It's been a great day." And she heard this. There was a long pause before she finally said, "Okay, Daddy, can I get back on my tree swing?" Don't trade fun for fun. Don't allow your perception of your life situation to rob you of the potential joy that God has in store for you now. Emperor Marcus Aurelius said these words, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs?" And if you're asking yourself, what the heck is Jesse reading that he's quoting Marcus Aurelius? This is actually something that Eckhart Tolle references in The Power of Now. We can apply this to our lives when we're feeling like something hasn't turned out the way we had hoped, or we're not living the life we envisioned, by asking ourselves, is there any less God, or is there any less love in this situation than there would be if I was in another situation? Oprah Winfrey said, if you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never have enough. When we ask how much love is here in the present moment, the universe again responds, enough. The same amount of love that's always been. Breathe that in as we say together, I am enough. We've gone too far. That was me. Let's try again. I am enough. Thank y'all. When we declare I am enough, we acknowledge that everything we need lies within our very being. While I was writing this talk, I had a funny experience of learning to be present. The most challenging thing for me is the act of sitting down at my computer, taking the idea from here and typing it out, putting it into words. Like any creative endeavor, it is easy to envision, but hard to begin the actual process of bringing it to life. So when it's time to write, I'll do it on a day that Amy's off work so she can be with Ellie, and I know I have the whole day to focus on writing out my message. So for this talk, Amy is off work. We had some family time in the morning. We ate breakfast together, and then I went to my study to write. After some playtime in the living room, Amy and Ellie decided to go to the library. So now I'm home, I'm in this peaceful space, house is all to myself, and I'm off to the races. I'm through my intro, and that's really all it takes for me to get going and let Spirit do its thing. Like my mother-in-law, I am a creature of habit and routine. Something you may not know about me is that I am extremely neat and organized. Everything in my home has a place. One of my routines as a dad is to clean up after an Ellie tornado when we're going to move on to a new activity, or it's nap time or bedtime, so that when we're back in that space, it's a clean slate and we can have our pick of what our next experience will be. So as soon as Amy and Ellie left for the library, and I'm on page 5 of my talk, I get to the end of my sentence, and the neat freak in me starts calling, and I'm off into my routine of cleaning up toys in the living room before I get back into my peaceful space and finish writing my talk. So I am here on a roll. Question: have you ever tried to interrupt Spirit while it's clearly trying to work through you? It is a tug of war you will never win. It can last a very long time. Free will is a very real part of our experience, and we can fight our calling for lifetimes. But no matter how dug in we get, God's will is our ultimate destination. We know this. So here I am, I'm on a roll with my talk, and I'm trying to tell Spirit to hold on just a few minutes. I'll be right back. Spirit said, go ahead, try it. So I would be in the living room. I'd have a toy in my hand ready to put it away, and the next thought would roll in. So I'd run back to my computer all the way on the other side of the house, type out the thought, come back, pick up another toy, another thought rolls in, run back to my computer. I'm getting great exercise, but I'm doing a disservice to both of these activities because I'm not focused. I did this back and forth probably about 5 times before I finally heard Spirit's voice through the noise say, leave the mess. Leave the mess. So I left the mess. That's the thing. Life teaches us that sometimes you have to leave the mess. That can mean leaving it there to be dealt with at another time. It can mean literally leaving the mess, walking away from it, allowing it to be, or it can be about living in the mess until we can see how beautiful it truly is. Australian writer Alfred D. Souza said, for a long time it had seemed to me that life was about to begin, real life. But there was always some obstacle in the way, something to be gotten through first, some unfinished business, time still to be served, or a debt to be paid. Then life would begin. At last it dawned on me that these obstacles were my life. Whatever obstacle you're overcoming in your life right now, whatever mess you might be living in, cleaning up, walking away from, always remember to pay attention. And you can do that at any moment by stopping, taking a breath, and knowing this truth for yourself. I am here, I am now, I am enough.
You don't have to worry, the past is forgiven. Yesterday's over, tomorrow's unwritten. We're not gonna hurry, we'll get there somehow. The only moment that matters is now. Now, wonderful now. The home of the Spirit, the holiest ground. Now, glorious now. The only moment that matters is now. You don't have to wait or hope for a reason. It's living inside you through every season. You perfect creator, just let your guard down. The only moment that matters is now. Now, wonderful now. The home of the Spirit, the holiest ground. Now, glorious now. The only moment that matters is now. It's hard to imagine a world without fear. But what has been and what's meant to happen will happen right here. So take a deep breath and open your eyes. What do you see? Can you describe it? Let it leave you speechless, with no room for doubt. The only moment that matters is now. Now, wonderful now. The home of the Spirit, the holiest ground. Now, glorious now. The only moment that matters is now. The only moment that matters is now.